Good morning and welcome to the November 20th, 2024 Strategic Planning, Information Technology, and Transportation Committee meeting. The time is 8:01 and I will call this meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Agenda passes. Next up is the approval of the minutes from the September 25th, 2024 meeting. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Meeting minutes pass. First up on the agenda is the Strategic Plan Theme C Initiative 1A with Mr. Jared McGraw.
Yes, members of the Strategic Planning, Technology, and Transportation Committee, I told Mr. McGraw that I would queue this up for him. This is, we are really in the end stages of all of our initiatives, and we placed this, the materials and the PowerPoint in your meeting materials. And Mr. McGraw is here for any questions, any concerns. And then once this presentation is done today, it will be placed in the FYI meeting portion of the board agenda for November. Mr. McGraw, I will turn it over to you for any questions or any concerns about the information.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Board members, for Theme C Initiative 1A, this does complete this piece of the strategic plan, and this will be if you so please, the last presentation as far as Theme C Initiative 1A. Thank you.
Are there any questions on this?
I don't have any.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to our next item. Thank you, Jared. Next item is the 2025-2026 traditional calendar with Dr. Kevin Plew.
Okay, folks, you were given the calendar ahead of time to look over, and I really don't have much comment about it other than it mirrors the 24-25 calendar pretty closely, with only a couple of minor adjustments. And I'll just ask if there's any questions about the calendar.
The days in gray, those are days that are off, correct? For students.
Yeah, those are the new professional development days that are they're considered required teacher work days, but we are reserving those for district-wide professional development. So those are they were new in the 24-25 calendar and have been pretty successful. So we're going to keep those going.
So the gray and the yellow are required.
Correct. Blue are optional. Hearing no questions, I'll just make one comment that we plan to, as soon as the state issues the 2027 holiday schedule, state holiday schedule, we can kind of guess what they'll be, but we want to make sure they're out officially so we know exactly where they're going to land. Our plan is to start a new cycle with calendar, getting 2 years ahead on the calendar. So we will be creating a 26-27 calendar to bring back to you as soon as we have all the information we need to create that. I think this will help the public with planning. It'll help our staff with planning to have the calendars a little further out, and it lines up with what a lot of neighboring districts are doing now with creating calendars 2 years in advance instead of only 1 year.
And what's the last day that teachers are in the classroom? Is it the?
It would be in the 25-26 calendar. That would be June 5th is the final day of school.
Well, I guess like when they're actually out of.
Yep.
They're done for summer done.
Right. Then the following week, we have 2 required and 2 optional teacher work days, which makes the final day of the teacher calendar June 11th.
Okay.
So are we just not even gonna, or the other, the surrounding counties just gonna continue to start early, end early, and we're just gonna stay where we're at?
So I'll just comment a little bit on that, but I mostly would defer to legal counsel on that. At this time, there is no indication that the state legislature plans to address the calendar law. And lawsuits have grown in number across the state when school systems have attempted to go early, including, of course, against us a couple of years ago when we tried that. So at this time, there's actually precedent now in the state. One judge actually ruled against a school system in a case. So with that precedent being there and the number of lawsuits we're seeing at this time, I believe going with an early start calendar would be very challenging. And again, I would defer to Ms. Morris if she wanted to add to that.
Yeah, just to, at this point, staff would not be, if the board would direct staff, as they did in the past, to develop another calendar with different parameters, certainly staff would look at that at the request of the board. But that would be a directive from the board for them to develop such a calendar.
I think all of us philosophically, Sandra, disagree with the calendar law. I'll be on record for that. And I think from an educational standpoint, we would love to start early and end the first semester before winter break and end the second semester before Memorial Day. But we've decided to make this recommendation to the board at this time, given the current situation. Johnston County last week tried to do this as well. They tried to have an early calendar, and they the next day decided to walk it back. So we still don't have a large district in the state that has been successful in changing that. In our region, it would still be us and CMS with a traditional calendar. The other individual school districts that I'm aware of have continued to move forward with an early start.
Okay.
All right, any more questions regarding the traditional calendar? All right, hearing none, I will need a motion to send this to the full board for approval our next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Dr. Blue. Next item on the agenda is the voice over IP contract with Mr. James Parker.
Okay, good morning, board members. Good morning, Dr. Villan. In the 23-24 school year, we identified a weakness in our core infrastructure, which is our voice over IP phone system. The current Cisco legacy environment is not sustainable, has many cybersecurity risks involved with it, and we need to move to a more modern integrated structure where we can reduce our costs and streamline our core operating system. And part of that is in June of 2024, we submitted a memo to the Board of Education. Ms. McLam and I identified some funding from the capital budget in 25 for $1 million for this project. And since that time, we have now partnered with a company called Continuant using the North Carolina State contractual system. We have identified this partner. They best meet our needs, and they also provide the services that will be required to move this system from a legacy to a modern voice over IP system using Yealink Teams certified phones. It will reduce our costs by eliminating some of our other partnerships with vendors that provide communication services, such as our core copper lines out of buildings will now be integrated in here. It'll back up our alarm systems. It'll back up our elevators. Our fire systems also will be backed up with this one included. So we're consolidating everything to this platform. As I mentioned in the past, the cost is $1 million. It's split over 2 years. Our estimated cost of this project right now is around $867,000. It leaves us a contingency of a small amount if needed over those 2 years for any special services or other equipment that will make this successful. Yeah, I'll entertain any questions about this project.
Jay, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
And so from a size of this project standpoint, like, are we targeting having a phone in every room? Is that the
Yes, sir.
plan as well?
Yes, sir, Mr. Morrell. The scope of this project is to replace all phones in every classroom, to give them a voice over IP phone. That's a wireless phone. So the need to have Cat5 cable in all the rooms is eliminated also. And that reduces our footprint in the electronics closets for switches, but also to have enhanced phones, video phones in our front office areas. But this will replace every phone in the district, being central office or school. Every phone will be replaced with this new modern system. And it also meets our advanced E911 systems that require us to tell our emergency services a location of a call, and also within that location, where was that room that called in. This accomplishes both tasks of meeting the current federal requirements of E911 also.
Okay, that's good to know. I know, like, my personal experience in the corporate workplace, I haven't picked up my voice over IP phone in probably 2 years because everything's on me. But that explanation is perfect and warrants the need. So I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
So will we have any any POTS lines going to any buildings anymore? Or?
No, sir. As we roll this out, which will accomplish half the district in 1 year and the other half, we'll remove all the copper lines out of the buildings, and we'll use what an enhanced cellular backup now, and stop using those outdated copper lines. They get cut many times when there's construction projects around schools, and they degrade over time. So we want to move to a modern system that now relies on cellular and our local area networks.
Okay.
If there's no more questions, I would just propose to move this as an agenda item on the board so that the informational for all the other members.
Yeah, motion to approve and send to the full board.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, motion passes 4-0. Thank you, Jay. All right, next on the agenda, we have information to be taken to the full board. We have the information about the strategic plan as information. We have the traditional calendar that will be on the consent agenda. And we have the voice over IP contract that will also be on the consent agenda. And our next meeting is scheduled for January 22nd, 2025 at 8 a.m. And I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank
We
you all.
are adjourned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Have a good
Thank you.
day.
I have